Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Sean Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Sean David.
Hello and good day to you all. How's it going? Welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. My name is Sean David, and I welcome you to your weekly dose of old school NBA basketball. In today's episode, I want to take a look at NBA legends talking about one of the most underrated players of all time, Mark Price. Such a sensational guard. But before we dive into that, let me ask you guys for a small favor. Please check out the video of today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Dave. You know, there was a time in my life when I was living paycheck to paycheck, and it got even so worse that I had no electricity, no joke. You know what I could have really used back then? Dave. Dave is the banking app that could help you to get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. Sounds amazing, right? But I'm not done. With Dave, there's no interest, late fees, or credit check. There's more money to fill your tank, finally get your car repaired, or catch up on bills without having to wait for your next paycheck. Millions of people have already downloaded the Dave app to get the financial relief they need with extra cash. Download Dave today at dave.com/BTM. That's dave.com/BTM. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC. Now, the first player's opinion that I want to take a look at is from, Isiah Thomas. So one all-time great point guard talking about another. Let's take a look what Isiah has to say.
Chuck, listen to me. I know he's killing me. The 20,000 people in the arena know he's killing me. My teammates knows he's killing me. We all know he's killing me. Talk about great shooters of today. We talk about shooting off the dribble and, coming off screens, getting a shot, moving without the basketball, running around, catch, shoot. The greatest shooter, by far, I think he's already been stamped, got the tag, Steph Curry. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my era. Now I'm going to talk to you about Mark Price.
Price revving it up for 3. Price around quarter, banks it. Price for the lead. Got it for the 3.
Mark Price, off the pick and roll, one of the greatest shooters I've ever seen in all game. Now, there's a thing we call 50-40-90. Guy shoots 50% from the field, 40% from the 3, 90 from the line. That was Mark Price back then. Mark Price can come off screens, he can catch it, he can shoot it, but then he was fast and he was quick and he could run all day. And then there's this thing now where they split the screen. But Mark Price was coming off and he was splitting the screen and then he's pulling up, popping, from the three-point line. His shot making, his foul shooting, and then his speed made him almost unguardable doing that.
One injury in particular changed all that, and the most important injury was to Mark Price. Quinn Buckner picks up the story.
The Cavaliers' dream is now reality as they've made their first conference final since 1976. But only a year and a half ago, they lived through a nightmare.
I felt my knee kind of go a couple different directions, and I knew that couldn't be good.
Now Mark Price will be taken to the locker room and examined.
Doctors told me I'd torn it and I was going to be out for the year.
As Price went through a long and trying rehab process, he watched the Cavs struggle to win only 33 games in his absence.
Pulling for your team, you want them to do well, but to watch them struggle and not be able to do anything about it, it's kind of tough.
Nearly fully recovered from his devastating injury, Price rejoined the team in mid-November, and the Cavs started to reemerge as contenders.
During the season, Mark got healthy, and the team started to come together, and we started to develop and mature and grow with each game.
Bounce back out to Price, comes down the baseline under the basket, hooks it up and in.
He brings that ability to penetrate.
Price keeps fighting all the way, feeds it to Brand for the goal.
To get easy baskets for other players because of his ability to penetrate.
Heroes basket. Price sets for three.
He helps keep people honest sometimes.
Mark Price was coming off of an injury at the time, so that's the reason why the Cavaliers drafted me. Mark Price, other than Steph Curry, was the best shooter I've ever seen in my life.
That's a lie.
And they talk about Steph Curry so much, but I wish that young players would look and Google Mark Price.
Mark Price
whooped my butt every single day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, every day.
Shooting drills?
Larry Nance, the great Larry Nance said to me, he said, where you going right now? I said, I'm going to shoot free throws because, the great Lenny Wilkins said, everybody shoot free throws, shoot 50 free throws at the end of practice.
Right.
He says it was Steve Kerr, who's the coach of Golden State, and Mark Price. They both shoot 90% from the line.
Right.
He says, Larry Nance says, so don't go over there. He said, if you go over there, don't miss.
Right.
So that's how I became a better free throw shooter, because they put the pressure on you to say, man, if you go over there, you have to shoot 90%.
90%.
I just mentioned one guy's name who I think is one of the most underrated players of our era, who nobody ever talks about anymore, is Mark Price. He was so good. You remember how
hardest
good?
to check on the pick and roll. He was splitting the pick and roll.
Man.
He created the split.
Yes.
Nobody was
invented the
splitting pick and rolls.
As a matter of fact, we have an entire segment devoted to more of the under the radar kind of guys in the backcourt.
I was like, wow.
A little bit like Steve Nash in that he was the best shooting point guard of his day. Could shoot any shot. As Kenny said, he invented splitting the pick and roll, and the reason it was effective was because he could shoot the runner in the lane, but he could stop on a dime in transition and shoot from three. Mark was much more athletic than people gave him credit for. He was fast, he was strong, and when he ran pick and roll with Brad Daugherty, it was a nightmare to defend.
Price over Isiah from deep. He got another triple to go.
We were at the Palace, and we were playing against Cleveland, and Mark Price, he was killing me the first quarter. Chuck Daly calls timeout. I come to the bench. Chuck goes, Isiah, Mark's killing you. He's killing you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get it together. And so we go back out. Mark Price hits another three. Quick call timeout. We come to the bench. Chuck goes, Mark is killing you, Isiah. Like, you got to do something. I say, hey, Chuck, listen to me. I know he's killing me. The 20,000 people in the arena know he's killing me. My teammates knows he's killing me. Can you tell me something that's going to help me right now to stop this dude from killing me? Because we all know he's killing me.
Watch the steal. Oh, what a move. Wow. Splits two defenders. Kicking all the way. To fly by it. The three balls.
This is a big leap just in terms of watching Steph today shoot the basketball and comparing him to Price. Because you can't really make that as an accurate comparison, because Steph Curry has done something so uniquely different in our league. What Mark Price was doing so difficult and rare back then, and those things in our league, they were just starting to appear. So when we see that happening today, you always have to give the originators, the ones who started it, the pioneers, you always have to go back and remind people of what really sparked the imagination of players and of coaches to incorporate these things. Basketball, in a lot of ways, is a lot like music. They say there's no such thing as new music. There's new ways of using it. But as Earth, Wind, and Fire said, sounds never dissipate. It only recreates in another place. And basketball is the same way.
Is it just me, or is Mark Price one of the most underrated players of all time? Many fans and also journalists forget that for a time span, like let's say 5 years, Mark Price was probably one of the top 3 point guards in the league. Scoring-wise, he was sensational, one of the purest shooters of the 1980s and early 1990s, and obviously a great passer, sensational court vision, and he was a floor general. He was the reason why the Cleveland Cavaliers were such a feared opponent back in the 80s and 90s. 90s. We have to remember that teams such as the Boston Celtics and the Detroit Pistons and the Chicago Bulls really feared the Cleveland Cavaliers. They had a very talented roster, but they were mostly feared because of Mark Price. So Mark Price, this episode is for you. I had the honor to talk to you a year ago. It was great having you on the show, so I wanted to show some love. And to your fans, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see you next time on the Basketball Time Machine.